until quite recently, this lovely little lane was a quiet lane which led down to some fields and then back beyond area behind the village of South Marston. But there's been massive developments in Swindon area over the last few years, and instead of leading down to fields in the back of beyond, it now leads down to this. Huge developments going on in this area, thousands and thousands of houses and infrastructure going in, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I don't like to see the rapid development, the rapid change. It's just too quick for the human brain to assimilate. Anyway, the reason for this video was to show you that, but also I've got a new camera. I'm filming on it now. It's DJI Osmo Action 5. I'm just doing a test with it to see how it performs. I'm just using the onboard mics at the moment, because when I'm cycling like this I don't want to be using a wireless mic in case I lose it. So I'm testing the audio to see how that comes out. I'm also filming in a different frame rate. I'm filming at 50 frames per second at 4K on this camera, and I've also got my drone with me because I want to fly my drone and show you the landscape as it's changed from above where they developed it. This was a lovely farm once upon a time, but it's all being developed. It's terrible. You see a lovely remote farmhouse there. Once upon a time, totally isolated, and from the area where I've just cycled past, that's the farm in the distance. I think this land here is going to remain untouched. But this here, where you see all the fencing like this is all up for development. There are going to be houses, schools, shops, you name it. People, congestion, pollution, noise. It's all gonna be in here, in this area. And what would poor Alfred Williams think? Alfred Williams was a poet. He was born in the village of South Marston. In fact, why don't we go and meet him? So we've got to take a short detour into the village itself. It's only a quarter of a mile to see Alfred. I was told by residents of South Marston that when the planning went forward for the development back there, there were lots of oak trees, some of them big oak trees, possibly 400 years old, and to the horror, I don't know how true this is, second-hand information, but they told me they were cut down. Terrible. Oh yeah. So there you go. I don't know how true that is. Right, we're coming into South Marston now. So there's Rose Cottage and there's the blue plaque. I don't know if you can read it, but it says poet and writer Alfred Williams lived here. I can't quite read it. I think it's 1881 to 1903. This is Chapel Lane, and just on the left here there's a house called Raniquette. Now this house was actually built by Alfred Williams. But interestingly, I see a stone set in with the date 1671. So I'm not sure what that's about, but I believe that Kept was built by Alfred Williams. Maybe he extended it. So this is Cambria Cottage. There's a plaque there which says Alfred Williams, the hammerman poet, born in Cambria Cottage, 1877. And if I spin the camera around, that house you see on the corner there, he lived there also. So this is Dryden Cottage, and this is where Alfred spent most of his working life. He lived here with his wife until he built Raniket. So you can see it's all within a very close proximity, a very close-knit small community, and this was a small tiny little village, but now quite the opposite. Anyway, let's go and meet Alfred. Well, this is the grave of Alfred Williams. I've had to use the mic in the end because I wouldn't be able to get the audio to the camera otherwise. But you can see how the grave has subsided. Obviously there's two people buried here, Alfred and his wife, and over time the caskets have collapsed, and that's caused this subsidence that you see, which is sad, isn't it, really? You see, there's a... Sorry for walking on this person's grave. Let's see if I can avoid that. But it reads, in loving memory of Alfred Owen Williams, poet and author, died April the 9th, 1930, aged 53 years. Also in loving memory of Maria Williams, his dear wife, died May the 27th, 1930, aged 50 years. So there's a short gap. I mean, he died in April of 1930, the 9th of April, and she died on the 27th of May 1930. I do know the story. She did have cancer, and she was very poorly, and Alfred was caring for her, and I think he was he'd had a health condition, a warning of a health condition, something to do with his heart, I think. He worked in the railway industry in Swindon, and not the most healthiest of jobs, and I believe he was a smoker as well. And he just got himself worked up, worrying about his wife, and then he suffered a massive heart attack and died. And he died just shortly before her. I will sing my song triumphantly. I will finish my race. I will work my task. Yeah, I've read all of Alfred's books. I'm currently reading for the umpteenth time Villages of the White Horse, where Alfred he travels to the local villages. He calls it Villages of the Downside because they're on the side of the chalk downland. Villages like Ashbury, Idstone, Bishopston, Womburgh, and he goes all the way from almost Wootton Bassett, from Broadtown right the way across to Albourne in his book, and recounts stories of the villages and what went on in the villages, what life was like. He recounts the dialect of how the people spoke and the type of people that they were. And it's really a fantastic read, and I'll do more videos about the about the book as time goes on. That's my plan, because it really is enthralling. But anyway, this is where a great man and his wife are laid to rest, and rest in peace, I'm sure they are. Well, now you've met Alfred, you know a bit about him. I can tell you just a little bit more about him. He operated a steam hammer in the Great Western Railway Works. A very noisy, messy job. Lots of smoke and working 6 days a week in there. But despite all that, he self-educated. And he did go to India for a little bit as well, and he learnt Sanskrit. So he's a very, very clever guy, very clever chap. Anyway, we're making our way out of the old village now, into where all the new builds are going to be, and then we're going to cycle down into Nightingale Copse. You can see either side of me now as we cycle along past Roborough Farm itself. There are these horrible fences to keep people out, because this is all going to be built on. I think they're calling it South Marston, no, not South Marston Village. It's called some sort of a village anyway, and it is enormous. It's absolutely massive. It goes on and on and on. I don't know who the hell's going to live in these places, but look, fences all around. Right, have I got everything? Just check. Nearly forgot my soup. I've come to this little bit of woodland right on the edge of the developing the area set out for development. And I've been to this woodland before. I've never actually camped here, but I've got it earmarked for an overnight camp just as soon as the opportunity arises. The problem I'm having with the camping at the moment is that Mandy can't manage the dogs, and I don't think some of you really understand quite how serious her condition was and how ill she's been. But anyway, she survived, that's the main thing. So I bought my jet boil, and I thought, well, yeah, why not? Let's have a bit of a brew up. It's not quite camping, but I'm easing my way back into that sort of line of work, if you like. So yeah, let's get some water heated up for my chicken soup. How much water do I need? Not much. It says always start the stove without the pot on, so let's get the stove started. Maybe it wants screwing down a bit more. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, there we go. We've got ignition. Line it up. There we go. And that'll be boiled in next to no time. Look, when they turn orange, that means the stove's boiled, or is boiling. Let's have a look. Not quite, nearly there. You can see the indicator. We're rocking now. Look at the stove rocking. That's a bloody hard boil, that is. Whoa. We are done. Soup is ready. Don't know if you can hear it in the background there. It's a muntjac deer. Right, cheers everybody. A nice hot soup, probably going to be too hot. I'll be sipping it. So I wonder what Alfred would be thinking about the changes that are going on in his village, the village where he was born, where he grew up, where he died. You know, he died in 1930. It was a completely different world back then. The world has changed so much, and I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling to adapt to it. The pace of change is so fast that I'm feeling not at ease with it, you know. Don't seem right. Once them houses go up, once that land changes, it's never coming back. It's never coming back to the way it was. Those have been fields, agriculture, since the wildwood was cleared, basically, about sort of 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. It was all put down to agriculture. And there's probably archaeology in there as well, which was probably just brushed under the carpet. Yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing, and I'm totally powerless to do anything about it, apart from talk about it on my YouTube videos. And I know most of you are probably in agreement with me. Probably a minority aren't, but how do we preserve our land? How do we preserve the landscape? Because that's one thing that Alfred would have wanted. he would have wanted, you know, precious things to be preserved, you know, things like our dialect, our country dialect. I've got a soft country voice, and yet I was born and brought up under the same roof as my brother Andy. He's got a completely different accent to me. He's more of a not a London accent, but it's a sharper accent that he's got. And I don't understand how two brothers of a similar age can have different accents. It's really quite strange. But then, in my formative years, growing up years, as a young child, I found that I was drawn to nature and to the countryside. And I'd get up early and I'd go and I was helping out on the local farms as a young boy. And then I was exploring the fields and the woods as a young person. Basically from the age of about 4, I'd wander off. And I lived in a small village at the time until I was 24, 25, when I got married and couldn't afford a house in the village, moved into the town then. And I've been in exile ever since. But I've never lost my roots, and I've always hankered after my roots, and I've always come back to places like this to seek solace, to bring myself back to a level where I can understand things, because the pace of life, the pace of human life is really outpacing the ability of my brain cell to keep up with it. So anyway, yeah, I thought what I'd do is really impressed by that jet boil. I don't use it much. Really impressed by how quick it is. But what I might do is on future rides, break up the ride with a tea break or a soup break, and bring a different stove, because I've got so many different stoves. I might bring something else each time, just to make it a bit more interesting for those people that like stoves. Well, that's it. I'll pack the stove away now. It all packs in nice and neat. I'll put that in as well. I also carry a little spare stove. You know that old saying, 2 is 1. Sorry, 1 is none and 2 is 1. Well, if one stove packs in, I got this as a little backup. Tiniest little stove you ever did see. This is the BRS stove. Look at that, look. Tiny little gas stove. Just a little backup really, but you never know if the gas stove should develop a fault, because they've got seals and jets and all these things can block. So it's always good to have a spare, a backup. Just before we go, I'm going to have a little wander through the wood. Yeah, the trees aren't that tall, and you can see they're planted in lines like this. There's been a muntjac deer incessantly barking over in this direction, but I think it's scooted off now. I've started moving about. Yeah, nice woodland. Be good to come back here and have a camp at some point fairly soon, I think. We've got a fall of apples here, look. Obviously this is an apple tree. They look like they were eating apples too. I won't be touching them though, they're a bit past it now. It's just a small woodland. It's on the outskirts of a much larger woodland known as Nightingale Copse, which is just adjacent to this. So no doubt a good thoroughfare for wildlife. You know, deer obviously make their way from one piece of cover to the other, utilising hedges and other places where they can move without being spotted so easily. So it's important to have these little pockets of nature for the wild animals. And unfortunately all this development is just encroaching on that as well. Time to head back now. Make sure I left nothing behind. Take off the coat. It was also keeping me clandestine because the fluorescent top is just too visible really. Anyway, I'm heading back on the bike now. We're now in Nightingale Wood, just going to cycle around the perimeter path and then make my way back home. We are expecting some rain to come in the next sort of hour or so, so I'm going to get a move on, get myself home before I get soaked. So I'll say thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, it's free to subscribe, so yeah, click that subscribe button. Great to have you along for the next video. Thanks for watching, bye for now.